for more on the oil and energy trade and about policy as well, I want to bring in Haag Sherman. He's the Chief Executive Officer at Salient Partners in Houston, Texas. Salient is a big player in the energy industry. They manage $16 billion and has over 5.5 million shares of Exxon stock. Haag, great to have you with us. I also want to make sure to mention that Richard Falkenrath is still with us. He'll be here for the next half hour talking about Osama bin Laden and his death. But Haag, first off, you just heard Sarah talk about the sharp reaction in the oil markets to this news. How long-lasting is that going to be?
Well, I think that if you look at the oil markets, and it's something you've covered for quite a while, Betty, it's really been influenced by the weakening dollar. The dollar's weakened over 20% over the last year, and oil prices, we believe, have gone up $40, about half of which is attributable to dollar weakness. So anytime the dollar firms, you'll see oil prices sell off, and that's what you've seen this morning, at least temporarily.
Right, that seems to be sort of, in some way, the mechanics of this. I mean, if we see the dollar then, Haag, continue to rise, does that just naturally mean that oil prices will fall?
Yes, I definitely think that oil prices will at least stabilize if the dollar starts to increase. And so, again, this dynamic of dollar weakness driving not only oil prices, but commodity prices writ large has been the trend and will continue to be the trend until we get our monetary policy and fiscal policy in check. So I think this will provide a temporary abatement to that, but I think it is just temporary.
But Haag, I mean, taking into account the now different geopolitical risk in the Middle East, with the death of Osama bin Laden, does that change at all the outlook on oil?
I don't believe so. I think that you still have much of the same dynamics in place. You have revolution in Syria, or at least the incipient stages of revolution. You had revolution in Egypt. You have bombing strikes against Gaddafi this weekend. So again, the larger context of the Middle East is still in place, which is instability, which will continue to have about a $20 a barrel premium in oil. Because if you look at inventories are relatively stable. So again, you have dollar weakness and instability that's really driven the oil markets over the past year.
Right, and you wonder, Richard, right? I mean, what Haag is talking about, this instability and what kind of a premium it adds to oil. Perhaps maybe too sanguine on this. I mean, the instability could actually rise even more here.
Well, I think I agree with Haag on this one. If you analyze the geopolitical risk in the Middle East from Morocco all the way to Pakistan, it's very high, and it hasn't changed much as a result of bin Laden's killing. Now, the one area where it might change a bit is in Pakistan itself, and it's possible that this event could become a domino that begins a sort of cascade of other problems in Pakistan, and Pakistan itself falls apart, or they lose control of part of the country, or even a nuclear weapon. That is an extreme scenario. It's by no means certain at this time, but if that's the greatest sort of change in the risk from yesterday.
Is our relations with Pakistan.
Our relations with Pakistan and Pakistan's own internal stability. But the rest of the Middle East, the areas that are actually commodity exporters and that have been in revolution for the past 4 months, bin Laden hasn't really been a big player there. I mean, he's not a popular figure in the Arab street as he was 10 years ago. They have been rebelling against their corrupt, ancient regimes, and for reasons that have nothing to do with al-Qaeda.
But it's a good point, though, Richard, because, hey, if we do see more instability, let's say we see a rapid deterioration in our relations with Pakistan, and that contributing to more volatility in the Middle East, won't that have a bigger impact then on the oil markets?
It very well could, and I think Richard brings up a great point, which is how carefully Obama has handled the aftermath of the taking out of bin Laden. If you look at what he did, he buried bin Laden. Apparently, the reports are that he buried bin Laden at sea, customary in the Muslim faith to bury within 24 hours. That's not going to play potentially very well here, but it really is to, in effect, address some of the sensitivities in the Islamic world. And so I think, again, he handled it adroitly as it relates to our relations with Pakistan and others in the Middle East. However, that may not play well here.
Great points. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Haag Sherman, great to see you again, the CEO at Salient Partners.
Good to see you.
Hope to have you back soon.